Morning. Today is 1st of May and I welcome you to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take the articles with the background and way forward. And now before starting up, first of all, let's see the overview of entire newspaper and let's try to understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. And one more thing, that you can download the notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, starting up, so first article, 11 dead after inhaling toxic gas in Ludhiana. Okay, so this is an misfortunate event that has happened. Then guys, when we talk about basically the gas which has been identified till now is hydrogen sulfide. Okay, now moving on in this direction, then guys, here Prime Minister marks 100th episode of Man Ki Baat. Now, here there is one article that we will see with respect to the exam, that is Haryana slips as investment drops amid worries over law reserving job for locals. So guys, we'll see that how often, because of the regionalistic tendencies of us versus them, such kind of things happen. We'll take this particular article with GS paper number 1 point of view. The Kerala story is an attempt to spread hate propaganda. Okay, basically, guys, no need to go too much in detail in this article. Then after that, coming to the regional section. So in regional section, the regional political developmental issues are given here. Okay, so the article talks about waste processing at Ghazipur landfill yet to pick up pace. Fine. After that, again guys, then there are the political articles etc that has been given, so we will skip it. Lives of 6,000 villagers set to change for better in Odisha. Briefly, we will take this article for exam point of view. Then further moving on in this particular direction guys, and we come directly to editorial page. Now on editorial, the first article, India, its SDG goal and the strategy to apply. So the article is talking about the progress of India on SDG goals and what are the things that should be implemented. We'll take this article. Focus on the borders. Now the article talks about the defense minister meet on the sidelines of SCO that was recently held. We'll take this particular article with respect to exam. Then tread on new path, one that prioritizes social justice. So guys, this article is talking about the Labor Day and the labor concerns in India. We'll take this particular article. Then desperate for justice. Now this particular article talks about that the wrestlers who are protesting around Jantar Mantar, fine, they have not been given justice till now. So they have protested in winters, now they are protesting in summers, but up till now no assurance have been given. Now the article is saying this particular thing, that when we talk about the wrestling has been a sport in India where a lot of medals have been won by both male and female, particularly from the rural India. And when they are coming out and where they are levying such a serious allegations, then they need to be investigated as early as possible. Now moving to the next page, the erosion of hard-won labor rights. Will take this particular article, looking to gain a toehold outside Telangana. So guys, this article is a political article. No need to go too much in detail here. Then further moving on, it's boom time in the Indian Premier League. Guys, with respect to the exam, substance has not been given here. Then text and context page, stray dogs and poor waste management. So we will see that how the poor waste management indirectly or even directly is linked to the increasing population in the stray dogs. Then the protest against the refinery project in Maharashtra. Okay, so guys, understand this particular thing, that what has happened recently, this particular new oil refinery project in Ratnagiri has been proposed. Okay, and it is going to be one of the world's largest refinery. Okay, now local people are protesting. Why? Number one, the environmental concerns. They say that it will emit a lot of pollutants, okay, which will impact the health of the people. Then because a lot of land will be taken up and lot of developmental activity will come, so flora fauna will be impacted and the livelihood of the local people will also be impacted. So these are the concerns. Now guys, the article is explaining that okay, why BJP is pushing it, what are all these particular kind of things. Okay, then further moving on, how hate speech and conspiracies are thriving on Elon Musk's Twitter. So guys, the article is providing this particular thing, that now the racial slurs, okay, or the religiously offensive comments are being made, but little bit their wording is being modified. Okay, and the Twitter is not able to remove that. More, it is largely because of the fact that the Twitter has removed large number of staff. Okay, so right now the Twitter is not having resource to see that whether the offensive to see that the offensive post should not circulate. Okay, however, For exam point of view, guys, nothing important has been given in this particular article. It is just providing that how the words are being misspelled, how the words are being little bit, they are being modified so that they don't come under the scrutiny of Twitter. That is just the thing that is given here. Then further moving on, uh, 229 more Indians reach home from war-torn Sudan. So guys, we have started the operation Kaveri, where the people who have been stuck in Sudan because of the crisis, they are being rescued. Now every day, how many Indians have been rescued? You are not required to track that particular number. Okay, then after that, moving on, guys, IRDI ask insurance firms to lay down social media rules. So basically, IRDI, that is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, it has asked that the insurance companies, they should lay down the social media guidelines for their employees. Now, what type of information the employees can share on social media and what type of information they cannot share. For that particular thing, a clear guideline should be there. Okay. After that, then we have the political articles and all such kind of things. Okay, protest going on with of the wrestlers. All these things have been given. Now moving on, guys, in this particular direction, why kingmaker? We want to emerge as kings. Fine. So political articles. No need to go too much in detail here. Coming to the world page, Sudan truce extended for 72 hours as battle rages. So guys, in Sudan, the military generals, they are fighting against each other for the dominance. Okay. Now, Russia-Ukraine war, Sudan crisis that is going on, you are not required to track everyday developments in this particular regard. Okay. Then money wise. Okay, so today it's Monday. So on Monday we don't have business page. We have this money wise page which contains the investment related advices and all such kind of things. Fine. However, for exam, not important for the exam, so no need to go too much in detail. And then we have the sports page. So this is the overview of entire newspaper. Now let's see the relevant articles in the today's newspaper, the articles which are relevant for exam one by one in detail. Now, so guys, in every class we start with the GS quotation, and this GS quotation can be used in our exams to complement our answers in GS 1, 2, 3, 4 and in essay. So today we'll take the quotation from James Bovard, and this is actually a very interesting quotation. So James Bovard says that democracy must be something more than two wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner. Okay, two wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner. Now guys, when we talk about two wolves, it means the majority section of the society, and one sheep means the minority section of the society. So obviously two wolves, they will vote that for dinner we want to have sheep. Okay, so understand this thing, that democracy cannot just be about numbers. Democracy cannot just be about numbers, because then it will turn into the tyranny of majoritarianism, and often majority might try to suppress minority as per their own whims and fancies. Now that majority could be in terms of ethnicity, majority could be in terms of a particular race, majority could be in terms of a particular religion or any such kind of a thing. So democracy cannot just be pure numbers. Democracy needs to be much more than that. Safeguards for minorities, social justice for minorities, fine, also needs to be there. Okay, so we can use this particular idea for essays as well as GS paper number 2. Now, moving on, and let's take the first article for today. Okay. Happening Haryana slips as investment drops amid worries over law reserving jobs for local. So this is an article that we have taken from the page number 1. Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to GS paper number 1, issues of regionalism. Now, how regionalism? Okay, I will explain that particular thing also, don't worry. Now, before going on in this particular direction, guys, let me explain you some of the background information that you need to understand for the exam. Now, I will going to, first of all, let's discuss this concept of regionalism that has been directly been given in our GS paper number 1. What do we mean by regionalism, guys? Regionalism is a political tendency that aims or that tries to mobilize people socially and politically on the basis of regional identity. Okay, social or political mobilization of people on the basis of regional identity. Or if we talk about very simple definition of regionalism, very simple definition of regionalism means the regionalism is intense love, intense affection and intense belongingness towards one's region. That is regionalism. Okay. Now when we talk about regionalism, guys, regionalism in itself is a neutral concept. Why? Because see, if you are from a particular region, obviously you will love that particular region. There will be love, there will be belongingness towards that region. So regionalism is a neutral concept. But sometimes what happens, regionalism, sometimes what happens, the regionalism or your regional identity, it comes in conflict with the national identity. Regional identity will become important than the national identity, and then it turns into the negative regionalism. Now there can be the different types of negative regionalism. For example, a negative regionalism could be one when politicians try to reap the regionalism and they go and drive the politics of nativism. I will explain it little bit more. So politics of nativism can be born out of the regionalistic tendencies, and that is a negative type of regionalism. Secondly, guys, sometimes regionalism could go in wrong direction, and there can be the demand to create a separate nation of for a particular people of a particular region. For example, guys, we often see the Khalistani propaganda in the news. So Khalistanis, they are demanding a separate country, a separate nation. That is a negative type of regionalism. Thirdly, sometimes the regionalistic demands can go against the constitutional ideals. That is also a negative type of regionalism. Then one more type of negative regionalism is the politics of us versus them. Where the outsiders in a particular state are discriminated. Okay, that is also a negative type of regionalism. Okay, so we have all of them. Now let's understand this in more direction. Basically, guys, sometimes politicians, they will come out with the politics of nativism. Now in the politics of nativism, what they will come out with, they will support the son of soil doctrine. Under this son of soil doctrine, they will say that a particular region first belongs to the native people of that particular place. The people who have been born, the people who are the original natives, they will have the first right over the resource. They will have the first right over the jobs in a particular country. In a particular region. So this is the son of soil. That is a son of soil. Original natives should have first right over resource. They should have first right over the employment or any other economic thing. And out of this politics of nativism, son of soil, what happens? Many of the political parties, many of the states, they reserve the jobs for their own native people. Now when they are reserving the job only for their native people, only for the residents or the domiciles of that particular state, it is an example of promoting the politics of nativism. Now in this particular capacity, guys, now we have seen that many state government are reserving even the private sector job for the native people. And in this particular direction, we will take the example of the Haryana. So what actually has happened? Haryana has reserved that 75% jobs in the private sector, 75% jobs in the private sector, which are paying salary up to 30,000 rupees. So the jobs paying salary up to 30,000 rupees, fine, in the private sector, they are to be reserved for the citizens who are domiciled in Haryana, Haryana residents, Haryana citizens. They will be given 75% of the jobs in private sector where the salary is up to 30,000 rupees. Now, when we talk about, guys, Haryana has iconic cities such as Gurugram, which is the service sector, BPO, KPO, IT hub, and there a lot of MNCs have relocated. Then, guys, Haryana also happens to be a very important automobile industry hub. Then there are many other type of industries also that are there in Haryana. Now understand that when international company or an MNC is relocating, is starting their facilities in a state, what they want free accessibility of the human resource. For that thing, they want that, okay, if they want to hire the best talent, That talent can come from Hyderabad, can come from Bangalore, can come from Bihar, can come from Jammu and Kashmir, can come from Rajasthan, any part. They want a free availability of human resource. But when the states are saying that no, 75% of the workers should be from our state, so the choice or the accessibility of that best of the best human resource is restricted. So the new MNCs will not come in this particular state. They will not bring the new investment. Okay, and now Haryana has started to see this particular impact. Now, guys, actually, what has happened? Now, this particular article is talking about that out of the total private investment that has come in the country, how much percentage out of total actually has come in Haryana. So, Haryana actually has declined it. Now, if we see the new investment that has come, okay, in Haryana, they are 6-year low now. Just out of the total investment, 1.06% of investment in 2022-23 has come in Haryana. It was approximately 3% 1 year back. And the moment we have implemented this 75% reservation in the private sector jobs, okay, since then the investments are going down. Now here you take one more example also, the example of Maruti Suzuki. So Maruti Suzuki, which is one of the largest investor in the Haryana because of the Maruti Suzuki's plant that they have in Gurugram, okay, and other facilities also there are in the Haryana. So Maruti Suzuki, it was planning to bring one more multi-thousand crore rupees project. But now what has happened, Maruti Suzuki is establishing a 24,000 crore rupees project in some other state where such politics of nativism is not there. Earlier this plant has to come in Haryana, but now they are going to some other state. So we see this particular thing, guys, that how the politics of nativism, which is born out of the regionalism, has brought economically poor dividends in a particular case. So this could be a case study that can be used here. So guys, you are not actually required to go too much in detail here, but here, just a minute. Okay, so here we see this particular thing, that if we take the projects that were coming in 21, 22 and 22-23, the value of the projects have been reduced, and the share in India as a percentage from 2.89, it has come to just 1.06%. So this is then impact, and you can use this particular example in your exams also. Now going to the next article, stray dogs and poor waste management. Now this particular article, guys, we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, developmental issues. GS paper number 2, developmental issues. Now here actually two developments have been connected. Development number 1, we see this particular thing, that in the cities now the landfill sites, they are increasing, the waste generation actually has increased, and the suitable waste management is not there. Solid waste management is not there. Waste is just being dumped into certain sites, certain locations. They are not getting treated. This is a kind of an unintended consequence of the urbanization that has increased in the India. So many people have relocated to the urban areas, but still civic facilities for waste management, waste treatment is not there, and landfill waste dumped at the sites, it's increasing. Secondly, in the last few months, we have seen that the menace of stray dogs actually has increased, and these stray dogs, they bite people. Few days back, some of the infants were also killed by these stray dogs. Okay, so these are two disturbing developments that are there. Now this article is saying that actually these two developments are related, they are connected with each other, and one is reinforcing the other. Let's understand how. So basically, guys, when we talk about any urban city, any urban town, or any place, it has the maximum carrying capacity of a particular species. Carrying capacity means that how many numbers, how many individuals of a particular species can live at a particular place, and that is actually determined by two factors. It is determined by the food and the shelter that is available, because the organism needs these two things, basically food and shelter, to survive. Now understand this thing, that what actually has happened today, the cities are expanding, the number of people living in urban areas, their numbers actually has bulged. And because of that particular thing, a lot of wastage is also being generated. A lot of food waste, leftovers, etc. are being generated. But in India, we don't have scientific waste dumping. We don't have scientific waste management. People are just throwing their leftovers in some landfill site, or they are throwing their leftovers in a particular locations in a mohalla or in a residential society. What happens then? This particular leftover food, it attracts the dogs. Okay, it attracts the dogs, and as dogs have ample number of food, they thrive in numbers. They thrive in numbers. So what happened? Because the facilities of waste management are not there, the dogs, they become the scavengers. They are looking around for food. They gravitate towards these garbage dump sites, and as they get ample number of leftover food, their populations thrive. Now, it is being said this particular thing, that when we talk about the Indian cities, they are generating more than 1,50,000 metric ton of urban solid waste every day, and a lot of the waste is the leftover food items and all such kind of things. It has also been provided that by UNEP, the UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, in a 2021 report says that 931 million ton of food available to consumers, it actually ends up in it actually ends up into the dustbins in 2009. A substantial food ends up in the dustbin, and that food then goes to the landfill sites where they attract the hunger stricken dogs. Their populations thrive. Fine. And then these dogs often they attack the citizens also, and they become a kind of a urban menace. Now, what is the response of India? So India has responded by two ways. Number one, we have come out with the animal birth control program. Animal birth control program. What is this animal birth control program? From time to time, the municipal bodies, they will catch some of the dogs, they will sterilize those dogs so that these dogs cannot reproduce, but these dogs will then be left back in the society or from the place where they were picked up. So in this particular way, gradually we are trying to reduce the population of the animals. And the second is the rabies control measures. So guys, often many of the dogs, they have the deadly virus of rabies, and guys, the rabies is such a deadly disease that mortality is 100%. If a person got rabies, 100% that person is going to die. So for rabies control, vaccination drives, etc. are going on. But guys, if we see, the core of this particular problem is the unsustainable growth of food wastage that has generated. So on that particular capacity, we need to control it. Now, moving to the next article, focus on the borders. Focus on the borders. Now, this is an editorial article that we have taken, and this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the India's neighborhood. GS paper number 2, issues related to the neighborhood. Now, let's understand this particular article as what it is talking about. So, by guys, right now 2023, India is going to chair the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India is also going to chair the G20 in 2023, and last year India also was the non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, and also India became the president of UNSC for the month of December in 2022. So this is briefly the high profile leads that India have taken in 22-23. So now we are the chair of the SCO, and within the SCO, India will host the SCO summit also for 2023. But before that, recently, just 2-3 days back, India has hosted the defense ministers meet of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and the defense minister of China also visited Mr. Rajnath Singh. Okay, and on this particular sideline, India has further put forward a particular grievance that China is not resolving the border issues. Illegally, China is encroaching in the land of India. Now understand this thing, since 2020, China and India's confrontation on line of actual control has increased. Even the Galwan Valley violent clashes happened in 2020, and there are many points on the LAC which were not disputed, but here the Chinese have encroached. India wants that the China should go back. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about India and China, there is a difference in perception in both the countries, that how this boundary matter is to be taken up. Now, when we talk about India, India provides this particular thing, that boundary and trade and development, everything will go hand in hand. Now understand this particular thing, that India actually imports a lot of products from China. India says this particular thing, that if China will not resolve the boundary issue, then the trade will also be impacted, then the development between the India and China, all of the developments on all the fronts will be impacted. Okay, so basically here it has been said that India needs to say that, देखो China, first you need to resolve the boundary disputes, then only the economic things and all these things we are going to discuss. But when we talk about the China says this particular thing, that economic matters are different, they stand on a different ground, they stand on a different pedestal, and boundary matter, they stand on a different ground. So China says that India should not mix the economic matters and the boundary issues. Boundary issues will be discussed on a different platform, and the economy trade, they will be discussed on a different platform. But India says that no, fine, uh, we cannot take it separately, and this same thing has been repeated by India in this particular meeting also. So defense minister has underlined India's position, that development of ties is premised on the peace on the borders, then only the economic trade will go forward. India has said this particular thing, that LAC crisis need to be resolved at earliest. And in this particular capacity, what China says that India should take a long term view and place the border issues in an appropriate position in bilateral relation. Boundary issues and economy should not be mixed, but India says that no, this cannot happen. So this is, guys, is something that is going on, and now basically the countries will try to further take this particular matter and will try to resolve it in the times to come. Okay, so this is all about this particular issue that has been there. Now moving to next article. India, its SDG pledge, goal and the strategy to apply. Okay, now this particular article, guys, we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, developmental issues. GS paper number 2, developmental issues. Now before going in this particular article, guys, let me tell you some of the basic information. So basically in 2015, the countries of the world, they have taken the sustainable developmental goals, which is 17 goals, which pertains to all the aspects of the development. They pertain to education, they pertain to poverty reduction, they pertain to protection of land, oceans, okay, reduction of inequality, food availability. Almost every developmental issue that is there, it is covered in these 17 sustainable developmental goals that have been adopted by the world countries in 2015. Now understand this thing, that till 2000 to 2015 we have millennium developmental goals, that were 8 goals, and from 2015 to 2030, now the goals that the world countries have taken, they are the SDG, that is the sustainable developmental goals. Okay, now this particular article is talking about the progress on the sustainable developmental goals of the India. Now one thing I want to tell you, guys, that as pandemic started in 2020, almost all the countries' focus shifted on pandemic control, and in that capacity their focus on SDG got diverted away. Now when we talk about India, guys, India has such a big population, and often some socio-economic indicators in India are so actually are not very good. So understand, India's progress on SDG is very important. So if the world as a whole needs to achieve SDG, India's progress, India's achievement of SDG is very important. Okay, now a minute. Okay, so basically when we talk about the SDG, sustainable developmental goals, okay, so India's success in sustainable developmental goals is very important. So I told you already that there are the 17 sustainable developmental goals related to economic development, social welfare, environment, everything, and they are to be met by 2030. So recently a study was conducted, and India's progress on 33 welfare indicators was seen. India's progress on 33 welfare indicators was seen. Now these 33 welfare indicators covered the 9 SDG. So I told you total SDGs are 17. Out of these 17, 9 SDGs were taken, and on these 9 SDGs, they were divided on 33 indicators, and India's progress was seen. And out of these 33 indicators, it has been said that on 14, India is on target. On 14 indicators, India is on target. Now, basically where India is on target, India is doing a good work on neonatal mortality, fine, under 5 mortality, okay, neonatal mortality, the children who died within first 28 days of birth, under 5 mortality, the children who die in the first 5 years of birth. So here India is doing good work, neonatal mortality, under 5 mortality. In vaccination, India is doing good work on sanitation, electricity access. We have done good work in the last 5 years. But then there are also the off targets, that is, still there are 19 indicators on which India has not improved. Now, guys, in this particular direction, fine. Moreover, eliminating adolescent pregnancy, fine, reducing the multidimensional poverty index, women with the bank account, all these things we have improved. But where we are off targets, so we are off target in the direction of the clean fuel for cooking. So though we have the Ujjwala scheme where the LPG gas cylinders are being provided to the women, but here also still we have not achieved so much. More than 2/3 of district remain off target. Okay, then improved water and hand washing facilities, here also we are off target. Is it clear or not? On the gender equality also we are off target. No district in India has eliminated the girl child marriage before the age of 18 years. So all these are the targets where we have not achieved properly. So out of 9 goals, 33 indicators, on these 9 goals, 33 indicators were identified, 14 we have done good work, 19 we have not done good work. Now the article is saying that actually we can take the lesson from COVID-19 approach. Now understand this thing, as COVID-19 pandemic came, we came out with so many of the policy actions. There was so much of active response that was given by the government in terms of increasing the testing facilities, increasing the health infrastructure, vaccination, everything, that we can take the success of COVID-19 also as a template. Now the article is saying that number one, as we have done in COVID-19 pandemic, for the SDG also there is need of a strong and a sustained political leadership. Okay, so from district to state level and state to national level, the political leaders should come together and should be coming together and should see that the SDG should be achieved. Okay, then second thing is that we need to create a mission oriented ethos. So basically when the COVID-19 was going on, then there was a sense of mission approach was there in the administration, in the doctors, in the enforcement agencies, in all of them. So such kind of an ethos, such kind of an environment need to be created. Then nextly, India was successful in dealing with the COVID-19 because of both the existing digital infrastructure was used and new infrastructure. For example, we came out with the CoWIN platform, we came out with the Arogya Setu, and existing infrastructure, digital infrastructure was also used. So for the SDGs, for better tracking of them, we need to came out with the new digital tools. We need to came with the new digital infrastructure. It will help in seeing that whether the COVID-19, whether the SDGs, what is the progress on that on real-time basis. Then next, we need to targeted SDG strategy should be delivered at a scale and must be executed with the same timeliness. Now understand, there needs to be the time bound target. Okay, for example guys, when the vaccination was unrolled, we have taken a time bound target that we will achieve the 100 crore vaccination in this time, or we will vaccinate every citizen within this time. So the time bound approach within the SDG is also needed, and only then we will be able to fulfill the SDG targets by 2030. So already we are in 2023 and just 7 years have been left, and India's success is very much important for the overall success of sustainable developmental goals. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Trend a new path, one that prioritizes social justice. So friends, today is 1st of May and 1st of May is observed as the Labor Day. So this particular article and the next article, both articles are talking about the May 1, that is Labor Day. Okay. So basically, the May 1, it is celebrated as Labor Day, and it is the day which celebrate the workers' contribution, workers' pride. Fine. Now, right now we have seen that COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, and because of the COVID-19, world's economic condition is not good. Right now we see that inflation is a very big problem in the world countries. USA even had seen 45 years of worst inflation. then still there are the conflicts going on. You take the example of Sudan crisis, in Myanmar the crisis is going on. There is the food and fuel supply shocks, particularly because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Fine, so today we need to build back better. And actually when this inflation, conflict, foods, fuel supply shocks are there, the workers are actually also getting impacted around the world. Moreover, today if we see the real wages have fallen. Okay, guys, the real wages means the wages that you are getting post inflation adjustment. Now, as the inflation is increasing, the capacity of your money to purchase new goods go down. So, real wages also go down. So, real wages have fallen, poverty is going up, inequality has increased, and inequality has actually entrenched. Okay, particularly of all the workers, small and micro enterprise workers actually have got impacted the most here. Is it clear? So today we need to create an equitable world. We need to create an equitable world, the world where the workers' concerns, workers' rights are also very important. Now, what we need to do? First of all, the governments around the world need to come out with a human-centered approach. Human-centered approach. Now, understand this thing. When we talk about the workers, workers also have a right that they can pursue their material well-being, they can pursue their social well-being, mental well-being. Okay, so the policies should be human-centered, which allow people to pursue their material well-being, their spiritual development. They should be given freedom, dignity, economic security, all these particular kind of things. Now, if you want to, if we want to give them material well-being, if we want to give them social well-being, what we need to do? We need to create the better jobs. We need to create the high-quality jobs. We need to provide the high quality jobs. Okay, we need to provide the decent work for all, the work which is decent, the work which pays ample number of money which a person needs for sustaining their livelihood, the work which also helps them to feel satisfied. Such kind of job needs to be created. Okay, also guys, it has also been provided that we also need to realistically address the long-term structural transformations that have come. Now guys, understand this thing, that today the technology is transforming everything. Technology is transforming everything. Today it is being said that technology such as artificial intelligence is taking away your job, but at the same time these technologies can create the new jobs also. For example, job of data engineer has been created because of technology, big data and all such kind of things. So need to understand that we ensure the new technology in such a way that it should create and support the employment. Okay, we should use the technology in such a way that we can use technology for solving the problems of the climate change. Okay, all these kind of things. Then the next thing that it is being provided is that basically we also need to come out together for the solidarity and social justice for the workers. Now see, often the workers, they are doing long work hours. There are the long work hours, they are paid very much less. Social justice is not there, retirement benefits are not there. Few days back also we have seen this particular article that the Zomato delivery workers, Blinkit delivery workers, they are not getting the proper wages. So on the world level, a global coalition for social justice should be brought, and this global coalition for social justice should bat for the reforms for the workers in the workers, fine, who are not getting the proper response and treatment. So this is the article on the workers' right. Then this article, guys, again I told you, as it is May 1, fine, May 1. Okay, so this article also has come onto the labor rights. Okay, so both article, this article and the article that we have just seen, will be important for GS paper number 3 labor issues. GS paper number 3 labor issues. Now, so the article says that the 1st of the May is celebrated as Labor Day. Fine. Now this particular day dates back to the 19th century, when in the USA 84-day movement was launched by the workers, which wanted that the workers should be given an 8-hour work day. 48 hours maximum work needs to be taken by them from a week, and the workers have carried this particular protest. And after that particular thing, guys, on the basis of this particular demand, there was the convention on the minimum, the convention on the work hours that was brought, and this convention provided that maximum work hours need to be 8. And this particular convention was also signed by India in 1921. Okay, India has signed the convention in 1921, which guarantees the right 8-hour working day. And today, if we see the European countries such as Switzerland, Denmark, Netherlands, they have even reduced the number of working hours. And actually, there is a 4-day a week, 5-day a week concept that has become very much important. Now, understand this particular thing. That article is saying that actually the employers, they ask their workers to do work for a very long hours. But actually understand this thing, that when you are taking the work from the worker for very long hours, his or her productivity goes down, their creativity goes down, and actually though they are available for work, but they are not adding to some more utility. So the article is saying this particular thing, that okay, the article is saying this particular thing, that it was expected few years back that technological inventions will come. With that, economic prosperity will come. And as economic prosperity will come, technology innovations will come. The workers need to do less and less work. And as they need to do less work, they will have more time. They will have more leisure time. And in this leisure time, they can engage in socio-cultural activities. They can engage in social welfare. All these things will happen. But actually, this has not happened. Though technological innovations are coming, but the working hours for workers are not going down. Rather, they are actually getting increased. Here we take the example of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka government. What they have done, they have proposed that they want to increase the number of working hours per day. And in this capacity, they have proposed the amendment into the Factories Act. Factories Act. Okay, now when we talk about the workers' rights, guys, in this capacity, the Global Right Index, it actually is launched by the International Trade Union Confederation. Remember it, because guys, the reports and their sources also are asked into the question. So Global Right Index, launched by International Trade Union Confederation, it has ranked Bangladesh as the one in the 10 worst countries where labor rights are not guaranteed. And if the if in this particular capacity, as Tamil Nadu has proposed increasing the number of working hours, if this particular thing is increased, India's environment with respect to the workers will also become bad. India's rank will also go down. So it has been provided that when we talk about the workers every day stay at least 14 hours out of their home, and many of times they are spending at least 2 hours for traveling also. So actually, if they are working for, let's say, 12-13 hours, and then they are spending 2-3 hours in travel, most of the workers, they become less efficient, they are fatigued, they are prone to industrial accidents, and at the same time, such kind of a thing will then eventually be meaning the less productivity for the employer as well. So employers need to give them adequate breaks, they need to give them adequate holidays, the number of working hours should not be that much large. So these are all the things that have come in this particular direction. Okay, so around the world, the countries need to bring amendment into their labor codes, in their labor laws, to ensure that the labor rights are not getting compromised. Fine. That is all about this particular article, guys. And now coming to this article, actually you can use it as just as a case study. So basically, guys, understand this thing, that many of the villages in India, they are not on the administrative map of India. Understand this particular thing, that actually there are many of the villages which are not marked as revenue village. Now understand this particular thing, that a revenue village is the smallest administrative unit of the country. Revenue village is a village that is paying the revenue to the government, and revenue village is an official village where the government is also entitled to bring development, welfare, etc. Now basically, still guys, what actually has happened, there are the many villages which have not been marked as revenue village, and as they are not marked with revenue village, they are not in the official records of the government, and as they are not in the official records of the government, welfare schemes, electricity, clean water, government schemes are not going there because they are not on the records of the government. So in this capacity, what actually has happened, there were 6,000 villagers in the Odisha that were living in 38 villages which were not marked as revenue village, but now Odisha has marked these villages as a revenue village, and now the social justice programs, welfare schemes, piped drinking water, housing, all benefits will now be coming to the Odisha. So this is something that is there. Now they will also be getting the land titles, land records will also be issued in their names. So this is a good thing that actually has happened. Okay, and in this direction, district welfare officer Parikshit Das has played a very important role. So his example also we can use in ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Okay, now moving to the mains practice question for today. So today's mains practice question, it reads: India is becoming the third largest economy in the world over the next decade. In this context, discuss the measures required for translating this growth into progress on social and human development. So this is an important, this question will be for GS paper number 2 developmental issues, even in GS paper number 3 such kind of questions can be asked. So that is all guys for the today, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So guys, I hope that you have liked the video. I hope that you have understood all this entire session. So that is all for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow guys. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.